Still going.
There it goes.
Sorry about that.
Hey, I could dance to the music again. That's not a problem.
I was too quick with the clicker here. So
Okay.
how are you, Johnna?
I'm fine. How about you, Kathy?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Ready to get this class started?
Let's go. You can go ahead and put my slides up, and we'll do the talking portion, and then we'll do the cooking portion. How's that?
Okay, that's great.
All right. Hi, everybody. As you all probably already know, my name is Johnna Miller, and I am a program assistant for this Ohio SNAP Ed program, employed through the Ohio State University and the Ross County Extension Office. And always want to point out there are little websites that I always encourage you guys to go to, the celebrateyourplate.org, which is our SNAP Ed website, and a lot of great recipes and tips and pointers there. And then the myplate.gov website, which is a great place to go for anything nutrition related. Have any questions? It's a really good place to do some research. So always make sure you check that out. Our topic this week, and we're going to start doing things different starting this week. Now, we have in the past, we've been doing the adults and the kids alternating back and forth. Well, found out that I think the kids are watching with the adults and the adults are watching with the kids. So we're just going to do one class and call it family cooking, okay? So family nutrition and cooking. And our topic tonight is going to be muffins and making half of your grains whole. So going to show you how to incorporate a little bit of whole grains into your regular baking by making muffins tonight. So Kathy, if you want to go ahead and go to my next slide, I'd appreciate it.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. So you guys are all familiar with the MyPlate, the 5 food groups, and the little orange section, that is where we talk about our grains. And this kind of breaks it down just a little bit more for us. Grains, they say we need 5 to 8 ounces a day. So what's that mean? Does that mean we eat 8 ounces is a cup, right? So do we eat like a cup of wheat or a cup of rice or a cup of oats? It's kind of different. When we talk about ounces, as far as grains are concerned, we're talking about what they call ounce equivalents. That means it's an ounce, but it's going to be in items. So if you see the little list there I got there, 1 ounce is equal to 1 slice of bread. So 1 slice of bread is going to be 1 ounce of your 5 to 8 ounces of grains you should have daily. Same way with a small flour tortilla. Half of an English muffin. You have 2 slices to a regular size English muffin. You only eat 1, and that's going to be 1 ounce equivalent. So if you eat the whole thing, you're getting two servings of your grains in there, and on down through there. So half a cup of cooked oatmeal, 5 whole grain crackers, 3 cups of popcorn is going to be 1 ounce equivalent, or a cup of dry cereal for breakfast in the morning, or a half a cup of cooked rice or pasta. Now that's grains total. We want you to have 5 to 8 ounces a day. Of those 5 to 8 ounces a day, we encourage everyone to try to make those whole grains. Now, whole grains is something, what they do to grains is they do what they call milling, and it's a process where they kind of they shake them down and they break off the skin from the outside of the grain. Think about it, a little piece of wheat. They're going to break off that outside, which is called the bran, and then they're going to be a little piece in there called the germ, where all the vitamins and the minerals are encapsulated. And those 2 pieces are kind of broken out of the grain when they mill it. And what they leave is the nice white, what they call the endosperm, and that's what makes the white fluffy flours, which makes the nice light breads and cakes and pastas that we enjoy so much. But the bad thing is when they do that, when you take off that bran from the outside, that's where the fiber is. That's what keeps our digestive system moving really well. And when they take out that germ, that takes out the vitamins and the minerals. So when they do that, they have to enrich those flours. And you'll look at a loaf. We're going to look at here in just a second here. Okay, thank you, Kathy. So you see here, that was good timing. So you see there on these 2 loaves of bread that I've got here, the market mill there is 100% whole wheat. and then the other one says it's a 12 grain. So you're going to assume, right, that these both are really whole grain breads, because one obviously says whole wheat on the front of it, and the other one says 12 grains. So when you think of grain, you think of whole grain. But when you flip those loaves of bread over and you look at the ingredient panel, any item you buy in the store, the very first item listed in the ingredient panel is going to be the primary ingredient in that food, no matter what it is. So if the first one says it is, you know, if you're buying a bag of salad, it says the first ingredient is lettuce, you know it's mainly lettuce, if that makes sense. So the same thing applies here. So the first ingredient on this, the whole 100% whole wheat loaf, says whole wheat flour. So that's pretty self-explanatory, right? That's whole wheat flour. And then on the other one, the 12 grain bread, which is that it's got 12 grains in it, if you look at that first ingredient, it may be a little hard to see, but it says enriched flour, wheat flour. So that means it has been milled, and they've taken out that bran, and they've taken out that germ. It's got all the vitamins and minerals in it, and they put them back in with another form of those vitamins and minerals. They don't put the bran back in, so you're going to lose that fiber no matter what. So always make sure for anything you're buying that you're going to use to get your servings of grains in for a day, that you're looking there and you're looking for the whole wheat, whole oat, whole barley, whole whatever. As long as it says has that word whole there, it's going to be a whole grain. If it says enriched or fortified or different words like that, that's going to mean it's been put back in artificially. Okay. All right, Kathy, you can go ahead and go back to me, and we'll start talking about, and that half of those grains should be whole. So 5 to 8 servings should be grains. So if you get 3.5 to 4 of those as whole grains a day, you're getting all the whole grains you should. So you're going to get all of the nutrients that you're needing out of your grains. It's kind of a rule of thumb. Okay, so our recipes today are going to be, the first one is a sweet potato and orange muffin. And this is a really good way to get a nice balance as far as a whole grain, plus you're getting some extra vegetables into these muffins. So it's really a good balance. You're getting, it's got sweet potatoes, it's got carrots, so there's 2 vegetables in it, and it's got 2 forms of flour in it, and it's got some orange juice in it, so there's a fruit. This is a really good, well-balanced recipe. So let me turn around here and we'll get started. So the first thing we're going to start in with is just an all-purpose flour. So this is some milled flour, and I'm going to smooth off the top here. So we got a nice even cup, and it's 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour. So there's that. And then it is 2/3 cup of whole wheat flour. Kathy, are you hearing feedback, or is that coming through my microphone?
It must be. I don't hear anything.
Okay, as long as everybody else is not hearing it. Okay, so there's a 2/3 cup of whole wheat flour, and I don't know if you can really see the color difference, so you can tell, but the brown over here is your whole wheat, and the white is the all-purpose milled flour, and that's because the all-purpose flour does not have that bran and that germ in there, which is what makes it brown. Okay, so our next ingredient is going to be a teaspoon. Let me find my teaspoon here of just good old baking powder. Yep. Oh, well. Yeah, I got the wrong one. It's baking soda. I'm not paying attention today, guys. So a teaspoon of baking powder. I guess it's a teaspoon of baking soda, too, so I could have just kept right on going. And a teaspoon of baking soda, and that's what's going to make our muffins rise up and be nice and fluffy. So there's our teaspoon of baking soda. And then 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I don't have a 3/4 measuring spoon, so I'm just going to use 3/4 teaspoons. So there's 1, 2, 3. These are going to have a nice spicy flavor with the cinnamon, and then we're going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, just ground nutmeg. I love the smell of nutmeg. It smells so good. All right, so that's going to be all of our dry ingredients, and I'm going to take my whisk. I'm just going to whisk those together. Stir them together real good. That way you're getting all your baking powder and your baking soda and all your spices through there nice and even. So when we go to mix this with our wet ingredients, it's going to be distributed nice and even. Okay, so our wet ingredients are going to be some sweet potatoes. Now I've got a can of sweet potatoes here, and these were packed in syrup. Well, syrup has got a lot of what in it, right? Sugar. So in order to get some of that sugar out of there, I just took my sweet potatoes and I put them into my handy dandy little colander here. Well, it's all flattened out now. And then I just rinsed them under some cold water, okay? That way you're going to take a lot of that sugar out. So let me grab my fork here. And I'm going to mash these sweet potatoes down. Now, if you've got a fresh sweet potato, you can always cook that up. Actually, I would steam it because we don't want to put a whole lot more liquid in these, and when you boil them, they tend to get liquidy. So you could steam them up and then mash them just the same as you would this, and you wouldn't have to worry about that extra sugar. So if you are really, you know, watching how much sugar is in your diet, that's a real good way to eliminate the extra sugar out of these. But I know a lot of us, I mean, if you the sweet potatoes are something we don't use a whole lot, but then you have a can of them, they tend to stick around a lot. So, you know, it's a good way to get rid of them too, is by using them in some muffins. All right, so we need 3/4 cup, right, of sweet potatoes. So I'm going to put this into my dry cup since this is a dry, sticky item. You see I mashed them down so there's not a whole lot of chunks in there. And it looks like a can is going to be just about probably a cup full, so we're going to have about 1/4 cup left. You have these left over, you can put them in the refrigerator and maybe throw them in some pancakes in the morning for breakfast. Or, you know, if you wanted to, you could put them in a little freezer container, stick them in the freezer, and use them for the next time you make muffins. So that would work as well. Okay, so there's my 3/4 cup of sweet potatoes. Oh, okay. And then we're going to have a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And when you're measuring out brown sugar, you always want to make sure that you do what they call pack. So that means you push it down into that cup and make sure it's packed in there nice and tight. And see, as you can see, I've got it flat with the bottom, top of the cup there. So there's 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And then we're going to do, what do I do with my spatula? Oh, there it is. I'm going to mix that together. And then we're going to get my orange juice and an egg out of the refrigerator. We're going to measure out 2/3 cup of orange juice, and this is just regular calcium fortified orange juice from the grocery. If you've got fresh oranges around and you feel real industrious, you can always squeeze out your own. I just wasn't feeling that industrious today, so I've got the bottle kind. And then also going to add in just 1 egg, okay? And then I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to mix that all together. And you want to make sure you get the egg all beaten around really well. I hope you guys can't hear that noise. It's just like, it's like, I don't know what, I'm getting feedback on something here for some reason.
What's it sound like, Johnna?
It sounds like a motor running or something. I don't know what it is. And then got that all in there, so I'm going to add in 3/4 of a teaspoon again. I don't know where they're getting this 3/4 of a teaspoon measurement. I don't have one. I'm going to put in 3/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. So 3/4 teaspoons equals 3/4, right? And then the last thing I'm going to put in this bowl is some shredded carrots. So I've already got my carrot I scrubbed it up, but it still looked a little funky, so I just went ahead and peeled it. So I'm going to just take my shredder here. And I'm going to shred this. It calls for 1/4 cup, but I'm going to kind of eyeball it just by using my shredder and put it right straight in the bowl. 1 carrot usually comes out, a small carrot will come out to about 1/4 of a cup. This kind of gives it, if you like carrot cake, it gives these muffins a kind of a carrot cake flavor, which is really nice. And it also gives them just a little more body Makes them a little heavier muffin, a little more filling this way. And this is just a regular grater I got here. I keep it up, I'm going to cut my finger. Keeps sliding off on me. Okay, so there's my about a 1/4 cup of carrots in there. Get them all scraped off my grater. Put that in the sink. And we'll mix that in there. I got carrots everywhere, guys. All right, so there's all my liquid ingredients together, all stirred together in a bowl. So I'm just going to take my dry ingredients now and blend them in. And this is going to be a kind of a clunky, thick batter when you get it all mixed together. And when you get towards the end there, you got to put some muscle into it. Really scrape the sides of your bowl. Get everything mixed together really well. You don't want any chunks of dry flour when you bite into that muffin, right? Okay, so let me start my oven over here. We want to heat our oven up to 400 degrees. Now you can put these into muffin papers if you want to, but I have found out with these heavy muffins, they tend to stick a lot more. So I just use my muffin pan just as it is and take my good old cooking spray and spray inside. Make sure you get down into those cups really well, and these muffins will pretty much just fall right out this way. Now, something I do when I use my pans like these, when you get that cooking spray on the outside, I will take a paper towel and wipe it on the top. That's how you get that brown residue on your pans. It's from that cooking spray, and if you wipe that off, it makes so you don't have to scrub that off of there. It'll maybe be a little sticky, but not really bad. Not as bad as be if you just leave it alone. Okay. So then I'm just going to take this, and you're going to fill these cups up about 3/4 of the way full. And I go through and put some batter in every cup first, and then you go back at the end when you have that extra batter at the end and fill in. That way you can make sure you got pretty much uniform sizes. If you fill them all up to begin with, and you get to the end, you might have one you don't have enough batter to fill the cup up, and then you're dipping into your cups and trying to distribute it out. Now, this is I just put the carrots in this, but you could put in, if you want nuts in here, you could put in raisins, you could put in chocolate chips, or butterscotch chips would be good in these too. You can put anything extra like that you want in there, but just, keep in mind, the more goodies you put in there, the more calories you're putting in. Now, the one good thing about this was, okay, we put half of our flour was whole wheat flour. So that made it so it's got whole grains in there. And that was the whole purpose of doing that. Oops, I'm going to shut my refrigerator, beeping at me. And we're going to put these into a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. And you're going to have some really good muffins. As you can see, it makes 12 good-sized muffins, and they freeze really well. So I will put these into a container and stick them in the freezer and just pull them out a couple at a time in the mornings, and you've got a nice, well-rounded, nice addition to any breakfast this way, okay? All right, guys. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven. Oops, I forgot to take my baking pans out. Look out. I'm getting a kitchen remodel here soon, guys. I'm not going to have to keep wiggling all this stuff around. You guys will have a whole new kitchen to cook with me in. All right, so there we go. Set my timer so I don't forget to take them out. Now, the next thing we're going to do is a muffin in a mug. And I'm using the term muffin with this one just a little lightly, because it's really not a muffin when you look at it too much, but it is something quick and easy. This is a real quick thing for a snack that's pretty healthy for you. And it's really something the kids can do by themselves. Once you teach them how to do it, it's really super simple. So our ingredients are a 1/4 cup of whole wheat flour, a tablespoon of brown sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, which you can leave out, a pinch of cinnamon, a little bit of butter, some low-fat milk, and some frozen or fresh blueberries, okay? So really super easy to make, really super quick to go together. Now I've got this soup mug here that is about the perfect size, so it's easy to stir in. I'm going to start off with my 1/4 cup of whole wheat flour. So let me get my flour measured out, and you're just going to pour that directly in the mug, okay? So there's that, and then we're going to put in a tablespoon of brown sugar. And again, just like with the measuring cup, you want to make sure you're packing that brown sugar so it's nice and level across the top there. I'm going to put that brown sugar in there, and then 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. With that 1/4 teaspoon I can have it maybe. I'm just going to put just a little dash here, okay? Because I don't really use the whole amount of salt most generally. And then a dash of cinnamon, and this has got a shaker top on it, so you just kind of just shake just a little bit of cinnamon in there. And let me grab a fork. I'm going to stir that together. And then you're going to take a little pat of butter. It's a 1/2 tablespoon. And the best way to do this, guys, is you know how you have the measurements on the size of the stick of butter? So they're in 1/4 or tablespoon increments. So you just want to cut 1/2 of that, and you're going to have a pat of butter, which is going to be your 1/2 tablespoon of butter for this, okay? And you want to try to get it softened. It'll go mix up a lot easier than it would if it was hard. So I cut that off and let it sit out for just a few minutes. And then I'm going to take my fork, and I'm just going to work that butter into that flour and sugar and spice mixture until you don't have any super big chunks of butter in there anymore. It doesn't have to be smooth, but you'll kind of mix it up until all the super big chunks are mixed up, and you might have to scooch it down in there with your finger a little bit. So it's always a good idea to make sure you're washing your hands first, okay? So got that. And you'll see, yeah, there'll still be some chunks in there, but they're not super big. You got your butter worked up in there. And we're going to stick this in the microwave, so that butter is going to melt through this. All right, so then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of milk that I've already got measured out here. So 2 tablespoons of milk. And stir that around. And it just makes a real thick batter, as you can see. And then I'm going to add in 3 or 4 tablespoons of frozen blueberries. And I've found that this works better if you thaw your blueberries out ahead of time. So I've got about 2 tablespoons of blueberries here. And you're just going to stir those in with your batter until you've got them mixed in evenly. That way you got blueberries in every bite of this, okay? And it looks something like that, okay? It's a little messy. Like I said, I use the term muffin loosely when you call this a muffin, but it does taste like a muffin, and that's what the whole point of it is. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds, okay? And you're going to let it, what it does, you put it in for 30 seconds, it heats it up a little bit, it gets that butter so you can stir it around a little bit better, and then you're going to take it out and you're going to stir it up again and put it back in the microwave to finish cooking it. Okay, so 15 seconds, 14 seconds. This, and I want to challenge you guys, and I want somebody to report back to me if they can. I've never tried it with a different fruit, but I'm thinking this would probably be good too. You could use like some chopped apples in this, or maybe even some pears or peaches. Okay, so it kind of got more liquidy, as you can see down in there. Now I'm just going to take and I'm going to stir that around. That way that butter gets all mixed in with your other ingredients. And then just kind of smooth it out around the bottom of your cup again. And then take your finger and smoosh it off again. And these are single serve, and you're doing this for yourself. Now, if you're doing it for everybody else, they may not want your finger in their food. But, you know, if you're making it for yourself, it's good. And then we'll pop it back in the microwave after that for about another 70 seconds. The recipe calls for 60, but I found out that 70 is a better number. So let's start that. Oops, for some reason I went to, oh, I guess that was right. So if you guys want to try this recipe and put a different type of fruit in it, and then if you want to, you can put it in the comment section on the video afterwards, after you try it, because I always go back in and check to see if anybody's asked any questions or anything, and let me know what kind of results you have with other types of fruit, because you know, I would like to get your input, because I can try this stuff and I make it at home all the time, but I like to have everybody else's input. I can learn things too. So what you try, let me know how it works out, and we'll take it from there. Maybe we'll try one of your versions. I'll also do one of those one night. So I want to show you guys, I already made up some of the sweet potato muffins here, and I want you to look how good these turned out. And you can see how nice, what a nice size they are too. Like I said, I'm going to have more of these now that these are in the oven. So I will take these and I will put them in the freezer in a nice container. Try to take as much of the air out as you, if you put it in a plastic baggie, you know, try to pop out as much of the air as you can. That way you don't get the ice crystals on them. But these will last in your freezer for up to 3 to 4 months, and they're going to be great to have just to pull out a couple at a time. We use them for desserts a lot of time too, because they're nice little size. Okay, guys. Can you see down in there? See the steam coming off of it? So you got a nice hot muffin. Those blueberries have got all nice and juicy. And then I've got about another half a cup of blueberries I'm going to dump on top of this. And you've got a blueberry muffin in a mug. Really great, really great. You gotta let it cool just a little bit too. I'll warn you. I did that earlier when I made one of these for my husband for lunch, and I tasted it and I burnt my tongue. So make sure you let it sit and cool down just a little bit. But it's a really good, quick, easy thing to make. And it's got whole grains in it because you got your whole wheat flour in it. You've got your blueberries in it, so you've got a whole serving of fruit here as well. Okay, Kathy, I think we've got it all done now.
Okay, well, that sounds good.
It is good. This is going to be supper tonight. I'm cheating.
Good. I love blueberry.
It's like I said, it's using the term muffin loosely because it's not. It's got that muffin flavor because you got the cinnamon there. You've got the whole wheat flour, which kind of gives it a nutty flavor, and the blueberries just pop. So it's really good, but it's more the blueberry flavor in a mug instead of the blueberry muffin in a mug.
Yes. Well, whatever. It still looks good. I love it.
It is. It is. And these other muffins, these sweet potato muffins are really good. I recommend those to anybody.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know if I would even want to try. I'm not a sweet potato person, but
sweet potatoes get a bad rap.
Yeah, they do.
They really don't. Most people don't. They've never tried a sweet potato without all of the candied sweet potatoes, you know, with all the sugar and the marshmallow and all the other goop on them. Sweet potatoes themselves are not that much different than a carrot. They're not even as sweet as a carrot.
Oh, okay.
So if you eat them by themselves, they're not that. I mean, they're good, and they're really good on vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium. They got a lot of fiber in them. They're really good addition to our diets. And you can put them in. I put these in. I started up and put them in tacos. Put them in the taco meat, and you're getting the extra fiber and the extra vitamins in there that way. Sweet potato is a pretty versatile ingredient to put into casseroles. You can shred them up and put them into a casserole. You won't even know they're there.
Wow.
So give them a try. Give them a chance. I'm telling you, you might like them.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Johnna.
All right. Well, I will be back next week. I'm not really going to tell ahead what the recipes anymore because I'm going to keep it fluid. Anybody who's got a request of something they would like for me to make, or try to, I call it healthify it. Maybe you've got an old recipe out there that you would like to see what I could do to maybe take some of the sugar or the fat, salt out of it. Like I said, pop questions in the chat on these videos. I always go back and check them, and if I don't see them, Kathy or Miss Liz will probably see it too. And we can. I like for you guys out there in the Neverlands to have some input. Tell me what you want to do. This is your course. These are your classes. So let me know what you want to do.
Well, all right. That sounds great. Yep. Okay.
All right. Well, I'll see you next week then.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, guys.